A robot that is beaming with joy emerges from a store in the meantime. The announcement that my son will be born today is made to everyone. I'm about to transform into a dark robot. Son will shortly possess a box, similar to this robot and its wife. They have to connect the components of a tiny robot as they build it. It will be their child. Now that the robot has moved to its wife, it assembles a small robot and gives it the name Rodney. They became joyful upon seeing their baby robot. The robot Rodney was cute. The robot gradually alters the components of its infant. However, this robot never brings its child new parts. It always fixes the worn-out components that his friends or cousins have used. Due to its inability to regularly purchase new parts. This robot adores Rodney, its young child. Big Weld is their idea of perfection. Big Weld was a competent robot, in fact. For the other robots, it creates things. They visit a festival where some balloons with its face on them are present. Other things were present. It's a big hit with Rodney and its father. On nights when they watched TV together, Rodney and its father were friends. Rodney enjoyed watching Big Weld's show, which was currently airing on television. All of the robots are motivated by Big Weld. Regardless of your age or experience. In addition, you can create new things. Rodney believes it will now create new items for its father as well. Rodney's father used to work for a dishwashing company where he now resides. Rodney wants to create something that will facilitate his father's employment. It is now creating a little bot that will assist its father with the dishwashing. Rodney was delighted and brought it into his father's business. To gauge how intelligent it is. That bot does good work. I wonder how many dishes it can wash in how much time. It quickly cleans a lot of dishes. This is well liked by Rodney's dad. The small bot becomes anxious when it sees the company owner arrive. It has caused me a great deal of grief. When the dishes there start breaking, the business owner becomes enraged upon seeing this and tells Rodney's father, "Your son is mad." Hearing it makes Rodney and its father depressed, and Rodney now fears it will leave the city and travel a great distance. In order to travel to the robot city, it moves to the railroad station. There will be more opportunities for it. After experiencing heartbreak, it arrives there. Likewise, its parents show up. They query it as to why. Rodney informs me of everything I need to know. I didn't see this happening here. Rodney's parents didn't stop it, so it is allowed to proceed. The robot city is where Rodney has finally arrived. It encounters a different robot here. It transports it to industry. Big Weld Robots Industry was this. Rodney tries to enter, but the guard stops him. Big Weld hasn't met anyone, according to the guard. On hearing it, Rodney becomes anxious. However, it eventually flies there with the aid of its bot. Big Weld was supposed to be there, but he wasn't. There appeared a second tall robot. It was speaking in an odd way. The message was that outdated robots are useless. Hearing this makes Rodney sad once more. It certainly seems like the wrong day for it. The assistant of the tall robot then asks, "But the new parts of the robots are so expensive that the old robots are not as ineffective now. Not everyone can afford them. It's not our fault," the tall robot claims. The old robots will be disposed of in the near future. For them, there won't be anywhere to go. This bothers Rodney and the assistant. It enters the room through the window because Rodney was impatient. As soon as it enters, the tall robot becomes incensed. It states, "I want to show my invention. Who gave you permission to come here?" The little robot, however, is thrown outside by the tall robot. While attaching it with a magnet, it also flings Rodney out. As a result of the effect, Rodney attracts attention. Even trash is attached to it since it is made of iron. It landed in the trash can while escaping the objects. It feels pain because its components split apart. Due to a robot removing its foot, it felt natural. It follows it as well. The robot's neck separates in order to hold it, and its companion and sister move to bring its spare parts. They find out, however, that there are no spare parts for it. When Rodney shows up, it attaches to the red robot's neck and the other robots start to smile. Before long, everyone was depressed. Rodney becomes one of their companions as well. They claim that we will accomplish everything together. They both move together one day to stand in front of a parts store. They note the large number of people present. Nobody was able to locate a spare part. The elderly robots were concerned about their ability to prepare. Once Rodney has arrived, they learn that it has repaired the red robot. In order to be made okay, they ask Rodney. Rodney agrees to carry out the repairs. It fixes them one at a time and gains notoriety among them. The tall robot, however, was not amused by this. Rodney gets a message from its father after a few days. That some extra parts are required. Rodney received the call. Rodney is concerned and believes that I need to meet Big Weld, so I will inform it that the older robots require spare parts. This is prohibited by the tall robot. Then it is learned that the city throws a celebration each year. There is also a chance to meet Big Weld since it travels there. When Rodney and the red robot arrive at the party, they see the tall robot talking to everyone and announcing that Big Weld is unable to attend today. Hearing this, Rodney becomes enraged and claims that the tall robot has a bad disposition. It is a malicious robot that desires to take Big Weld's position. Big Weld, I believe it is gone now. The tall robot commands it to go, and if it wants to, it can also order it to destroy. That's where its assistant steps in. They are now moving into Big Weld's home. In Big Weld's home, they notice a dice structure. When Rodney rolled a die, the entire building was harmed. When Big Weld finally shows up, Rodney is startled and says, "You're here. Everyone outside needs you," but Big Weld says that this is not the time for me. They require that robot, in my opinion. There is nothing like what you're saying, Rodney agrees. Big Weld claims that even though you are an elder, I am aware of your ignorance. Rodney claims that it would be better for you to depart, but you are my ideal. You can't abandon hope in such a way. It spills out as I say this. When it gets outside, it calls home and informs its father of everything. If anyone tells you to lose your courage, never do it, the father of the child says. Rodney, my son is capable of doing anything, including finishing the task for which you traveled to the city. When Rodney hears this, he becomes motivated, and it feels good. It believes that once it has served its purpose, it will move. As of right now, it is powerless to act, and as its father desires, it considers leaving this place. All of them have come to say their last goodbyes. When Big Weld shows up, he declares, "I'm also motivated. We should not remain seated in this manner, in my opinion. In order to act, I must show courage, otherwise, I will do nothing." In front of the tall robot, it travels to the industry. "I've known what you're doing," it snaps angrily. "I release you from the business." The tall robot refuses to listen when it realizes that it is now exposed and instead holds its feet while pleading for forgiveness. But Big Weld won't take this action. It requests that it go away. Realizing that it will no longer function, the tall robot strikes Big Weld in the head. It deactivates as a result of that. It shuts off. It is removed by Rodney and his helper. Rodney begins to fix it. The assistant brings the magnetic device in the meantime. It keeps Rodney and Big Weld in its possession. While carrying another magnetic machine to hold them, the tall robot also makes an appearance. To get away from them, Rodney's friends travel there. However, they were confined to the tall robot's magnetic apparatus. Rodney takes it off. When Big Weld finally arrives at the fire chamber, a tall robot and its companion were responsible for setting it up. Big Weld is intended to be burned in it. Rodney stops the machine at the proper moment. Then all of the city's robots show up, and the scene ends with a laugh. The tall robot runs into something, and all of its pieces fly out. A companion of his is lost in the flames. These bad robots were destroyed here. Everyone was content. They now have a good robot, thanks to Big Weld's return, who can produce spare parts for them as well as repair them. The happy Big Weld declares to Rodney, "You are my right hand as of today. You'll finish all of my homework, I promise. You have impressed me." It also provides him with some fresh components that he can use to fix its father. The outcome makes Rodney's father happy. The movie ends in a joyful manner with that.